Nora Hayes adjusted her translator pin as she leaned back in her chair, a smirk tugging at her lips. The chamber around her was a cacophony of alien languages, each filtered into her ear as monotone declarations of outrage. The Galactic Council, comprised of 142 species, was in rare form today, and she couldn't help but feel like the only adult in a room full of overgrown toddlers. Representative Hayes, barked a three-eyed delegate from the Zorvaxian quadrant. His gelatinous frame rippled with indignation. Humanity's secret mining of Xenovite is a direct affront to the Council's resource allocation doctrine. Nora raised an eyebrow. Secret mining? Last I checked, Earth's biggest export is questionable music and overly sweetened beverages, not minerals. A low growl came from a delegate shaped like a sentient tree. We have evidence. Witness accounts of human vessels in restricted sectors. Explain yourself. The council chamber filled with murmurs, and Nora let the tension hang for a beat before standing. Let's assume for a moment that we are mining Xenovite. Why would we do it secretly? It's not like humanity has a great poker face when it comes to resources. Half our trade agreements are just us asking, what's shiny, and can we have it? This earned a ripple of laughter from the more relaxed delegates, but the Zorvaxian was unmoved. You mock us, but the Council's vote is clear. Humanity has flagrantly violated. Do you even hear yourselves? Nora interrupted, her voice slicing through the noise. You're accusing a species whose idea of intergalactic diplomacy includes memes and cat videos of masterminding a clandestine mining operation. I think you're giving us too much credit. The chamber fell silent. For a moment, Nora thought she'd managed to defuse the situation. Then the Council's president, a towering insectoid with a voice like chittering glass, leaned forward. Representative Hayes, the Council has reviewed the evidence and voted unanimously. Humanity is to be sanctioned. A state of war will exist until restitution is made. Nora blinked. A state of war? Over a mineral we don't even care about. You're serious? The president's antennae twitched. This decision is final. You have one planetary rotation to inform your leaders. For a moment, Nora considered a cutting retort, but she settled for a slow, exaggerated sip of her coffee. Sure. Let me just pencil that in between breakfast and my morning yoga. The declaration was broadcast across the galactic network within the hour. To Nora's surprise, Earth's reaction was almost comically underwhelming. News anchors reported the declaration in the same tone they'd use for a minor weather update. Social media trended hashtags like #TuesdayWar and #BringSnacksForTheAliens. Even the United Earth government seemed more concerned with the upcoming World Cup than the looming interstellar conflict. Nora's shuttle touched down in Geneva, where Earth's governing council had convened. She stepped into the chamber to find General Marcus Doyle hunched over a table covered in holographic projections of alien ships. Beside him, Dr. Lin May, Earth's leading AI researcher, was sipping tea and scrolling through her tablet. So, how bad is it? Nora asked, setting her bag down. Marcus didn't look up. Depends on your definition of bad. They've got us outnumbered 100-1, their tech is centuries ahead, and their supply chains make ours look like amateur hour. Sounds about right, Nora said, sitting across from him. What's the plan? Lin shrugged. We could panic, but that's not very on brand for us. Marcus finally looked up, his face a mixture of irritation and amusement. We've activated Project Stoic. Figured we'd lean into what we're good at. Nora grinned. Psychological warfare and being annoyingly chill? Exactly, Lin said, sliding her tablet toward Nora. Phase 1 involves flooding their networks with misinformation. We're planting fake blueprints for weapons like black hole grenades and quantum destabilizers. The goal is to make them second-guess every step they take. And Phase 2? Nora asked. Marcus smirked. We broadcast Earth's normal day-to-day activities. Nothing says we're not worried like streaming a barbecue championship while they prep for war. Nora laughed. Let me guess, Phase 3 is where we exploit their paranoia to turn them against each other? Lin nodded. Bingo. The Council's alliances are held together with duct tape and wishful thinking. A few well-placed rumors should do the trick. Sounds like we're as prepared as we can be, Nora said, leaning back. Anything else I should know? Marcus hesitated, then sighed. There's one wild card. The Council's fleet is mobilizing near Proxima Centauri. If they strike, it'll be there. Of course it will, Nora muttered. Because nothing says welcome to war like attacking a peaceful colony. Lynn tapped a few keys on her tablet, pulling up a map of the colony. We've evacuated most civilians and left a skeleton crew of drones to run the show. If they attack, they'll find an empty city and a few surprises. Surprises? Nora asked. Let's just say we've been creative with holograms and decoys, Lynn said with a mischievous smile. The goal is to make them question whether they're even in the right place. The Council's fleet arrived at Proxima Centauri 2 days later. Thousands of ships hovered over the colony, their weapons locked on target. The fleet commander, a towering reptilian with scales that shimmered like oil, barked orders to his crew. Prepare for assault. Humanity must learn the consequences of defiance. As the first wave of ships descended, they were met with an eerie silence. The city below was deserted, its streets lined with colorful banners that read, *, Welcome, Galactic invaders! Enjoy your stay! The commander frowned. What is this? Holographic projectors activated, filling the city with projections of humans going about their daily lives, shopping, jogging, even playing chess. But something was off. The figures glitched occasionally, repeating the same motions in loops. Are they mocking us? The commander growled. Suddenly, the projectors shifted, displaying a message in glowing letters, *. Congratulations! You've reached the intergalactic war simulation. Please leave feedback on your experience. Before the commander could react, the harmless-looking satellites orbiting the colony emitted bursts of electromagnetic energy. The fleet's communications went dark, and their engines powered down, leaving them stranded. Back on Earth, Nora watched the live feed with a satisfied smile. Well, that went better than expected. Marcus chuckled. Think they'll call us for peace talks? They'd better, Nora said, picking up her coffee. I've got plans tomorrow, and I'd hate to cancel for something as trivial as an intergalactic war. The Galactic Council fleet loomed in the void above Proxima Centauri, its ships casting long shadows over the planet's surface. Admiral Threcker of the Thalassian Navy paced the bridge of his flagship, his tail flicking with irritation. The lack of resistance was unexpected, and the empty city below only deepened his suspicion. Admiral, no signs of human forces, his tactical officer reported, their tentacles twitching nervously. Scanners show no life forms within the colony. It's completely abandoned. Abandoned? Threcker's voice was a guttural snarl. Humans don't abandon their colonies. They're stubborn, almost to a fault. The officer hesitated before adding, There are messages, sir. Banners and signs scattered throughout the city. Messages? Threcker turned sharply. Put them on the main display. The screen flickered to life, showing a holographic billboard hovering above the colony's central square. The glowing text read, Welcome, Galactic invaders! Free parking available. Don't forget to try the local cuisine. Threcker's claws scraped against the console as he growled. What game are they playing? It's not just that, Admiral. Another officer chimed in. We're intercepting strange broadcasts from Earth. They appear to be celebrating? Celebrating what? The broadcast appeared on a secondary monitor. It was a live feed of humans grilling food, laughing, and playing music around a massive outdoor gathering. A banner in the background read, Proxima Barbecue Bash, because even invaders deserve a good time. Threcker's jaw tightened. They mock us. Should we commence the bombardment? The tactical officer asked. Not yet. There's something off about this. Threcker's eyes narrowed as he studied the feed. Humans are reckless, but they're not suicidal. They wouldn't invite a war unless they had a plan. Admiral, another anomaly! A sensor technician called out. Our ship's navigation systems are displaying conflicting data. It's as if the planet's magnetic field is shifting. Explain. The technician hesitated. It appears artificial, sir. The source is coming from. The ship shuddered, lights flickering as alarms blared across the bridge. What was that? Threcker barked. EMP burst detected. Our systems are compromised. The tactical officer's voice was panicked now. Communications are down fleet-wide. Engines are unresponsive. Threcker slammed a clawed hand onto the console. Humans. They've disabled us. Before he could issue further commands, a new hologram appeared, filling the bridge with an image of a human woman. She stood confidently, arms crossed, with a faint smirk playing on her lips. Admiral Threcker, I presume? Nora Hayes's voice was calm, almost casual. Welcome to Proxima Centauri. I trust your stay has been illuminating. Threcker snarled. You dare to toy with the Galactic Council's might? Your insolence will save the threats, Nora interrupted. We both know you're in no position to make them. Your fleet's dead in the water, your supply lines are severed, and your allies are already turning on each other thanks to some well-placed rumors. How's that working out, by the way? Threcker's tail lashed behind him as he glared at the hologram. This will not go unanswered. The Council will crush you. Nora raised an eyebrow. The Council? You mean the same Council that's currently accusing each other of collusion and plotting coups? Yeah, good luck with that. But here's the thing, Admiral, we're not interested in war. It's messy, expensive, and honestly, we've got better things to do. Then why provoke us? Threcker demanded. Why this charade? Charade? Nora feigned surprise. Oh no, this is very real. You declared war on us, remember? We're just responding in kind, by showing you exactly why that was a bad idea. Threcker growled low in his throat. This is not over. It could be, Nora said, her tone shifting to something more serious. Call it off, Admiral. Go back to the Council and tell them you've reconsidered. We don't have to be enemies. But if you push this any further, I promise you, the next round won't be nearly as gentle. Before Threcker could respond, the hologram flickered and vanished, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Admiral? The tactical officer prompted. Threcker stared at the blank screen for a moment before turning sharply. Initiate emergency repairs. I want communications restored immediately. But sir. Do it! Threcker snapped. If the humans think they can outmaneuver us, they're gravely mistaken. On Earth, Nora leaned back in her chair, watching the feed from Proxima with satisfaction. The sight of the Council fleet stranded and confused was almost comical. Marcus stood beside her, arms crossed, a grin tugging at the corners of his mouth. Well, he said, that went about as well as we could have hoped. Nora nodded. They'll retreat. They have no choice. And if they don't? She smirked. Then we show them what happens when you push humans too far. But something tells me they've learned their lesson. Lynn entered the room, holding a tablet. I just got word from our intelligence team. The Council factions are in complete disarray. One of their key supply hubs just declared independence. Perfect, Nora said. Keep the pressure on. The longer they're fighting each other, the less they'll bother us. Lynn hesitated. There's one more thing. We intercepted a message from Threcker's flagship. He's calling for reinforcements. Nora's expression hardened. So he hasn't learned yet. Marcus cracked his knuckles. Guess we'll have to teach him the hard way. Nora glanced at the live feed one last time before standing. Prep the next phase of Project Stoic. If they want a war, we'll give them one they'll never forget. Admiral Threcker sat rigid in his command chair, his clawed fingers drumming a restless rhythm against the armrest. His flagship, Pride of Thalassia, floated in a sea of dead ships, their systems silenced by the humans' unexpected electromagnetic strike. Around him, the bridge buzzed with controlled chaos as his crew worked frantically to repair the damage. Status report, he growled, his patience wearing thin. The chief engineer, a squat amphibian with mottled green skin, croaked nervously. Primary engines remain offline, Admiral. Auxiliary power is stable, but we are unable to restore communications beyond short-range frequencies. Threcker's eyes narrowed. And the weapons systems? Disabled, the engineer admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. The EMP surge overloaded the plasma relays. They'll need a full system reboot. Before Threcker could reply, his tactical officer chimed in. Admiral, a new transmission is coming through. It's from the humans. Threcker's lips curled into a snarl. Put it on screen. The holographic display flickered, revealing Nora Hayes sitting comfortably in a chair, a steaming mug of coffee in her hand. Her expression was calm, almost amused, as if this entire situation were nothing more than a mild inconvenience. Admiral Threcker, she said, her tone carrying a hint of mockery. You're looking a little stuck. Everything all right over there? Enough games? Threcker snapped. Whatever trick you've pulled will not hold us for long. When our fleet is operational, you will regret this arrogance. Nora leaned forward, setting her mug down with deliberate care. Arrogance? No, Admiral, this isn't arrogance. This is strategy. You declared war on us, so we're showing you how we fight. And trust me, this is the polite version. Threcker bristled, his tail lashing behind him. You underestimate the Council's strength. Reinforcements are already en route. This minor victory will be short-lived. Reinforcements? Nora smirked. That's adorable. You think more ships are going to help you. Here's a fun fact. While you've been sitting there, trying to patch up your fleet, we've been busy. You might want to check on your supply depots. Threcker froze. What have you done? Nothing much, Nora said with a shrug. Just a little misdirection here, a few accidental leaks there. Turns out your allies aren't as loyal as you think. Oh, and I double-checked the status of your outpost in the Fexian belt. Last I heard, they were flying a new flag. The tactical officer's console beeped urgently, and he glanced at his readouts before turning to Threcker. Admiral, incoming reports confirm significant disruptions across multiple Council sectors. Several supply hubs have declared independence, and there are skirmishes breaking out among Allied fleets. Threcker's claws dug into the armrest. Impossible. They wouldn't dare. They would if they thought you were losing, Nora interjected. And right now? You're losing. Badly. Threcker snarled, slamming a fist onto the console beside him. You think this will break us? That we'll surrender? The Council does not yield to primitives. Primitives? Nora echoed, her tone turning icy. Funny, coming from someone whose fleet is currently stranded because they underestimated us. But sure, keep telling yourself that. Meanwhile, we'll keep doing what we do best, outthinking and outmaneuvering you. Before Threcker could respond, the hologram blinked out, leaving the bridge in tense silence. His officers avoided his gaze, their unease palpable. Finally, the tactical officer spoke. Admiral, what are your orders? Threcker's mind raced. He knew the humans were toying with him, but their tactics were unlike anything he had faced before. They weren't fighting with brute force. They were exploiting the Council's weaknesses, turning its own bureaucracy and alliances against it. And worst of all, it was working. Begin reactivating our communications systems, he commanded, his voice sharp. I want to speak to every commander in this fleet. We will regroup and launch a coordinated assault on Earth itself. If the humans want to play games, we'll show them the price of defiance. Admiral, the chief engineer began hesitantly. If I may, the fleet's current condition. Do it! Threcker roared. The Council's honor demands retribution. Back on Earth, Nora Hayes leaned back in her chair, watching the live feed from Proxima Centauri with a satisfied smirk. Beside her, Marcus Doyle reviewed a series of tactical readouts, his expression one of quiet confidence. They'll try to push through, Marcus said. Threcker's too proud to admit defeat. Good, Nora replied. Pride makes people predictable. And predictable opponents are easy to handle. Lin May entered the room, holding a tablet. Update from our cyber team. They've confirmed a successful breach of the Council's command network. We're feeding them just enough misinformation to keep them chasing their own tails. Perfect, Nora said. Let's keep the pressure on. The longer they're in disarray, the less they can focus on us. Lynn hesitated. There's one potential complication. We intercepted a message from one of Threcker's officers. They're planning a direct assault on Earth. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Bold move. Stupid but bold. Nora nodded. Desperation makes people stupid. Let them come. We'll be ready. Lynn frowned. What if they escalate? We've been careful so far, but if they decide to go scorched earth? They won't, Nora said firmly. They can't afford to. The Council thrives on order and control. If they go too far, they'll lose what little credibility they have left. And if you're wrong? Lynn pressed. Nora smiled faintly. Then we remind them why declaring war on humanity was the worst decision they've ever made. The bridge of the Pride of Thalassia was tense, the air crackling with unspoken frustration. Admiral Threcker stood at the center, his gaze locked on the holographic projection of Earth. Despite the overwhelming fleet at his command, he couldn't shake the feeling that the humans were 10 steps ahead. Every countermeasure had been met with subterfuge, every offensive turned into an embarrassing farce. Now, with his forces barely operational, his pride demanded one final gamble, a direct strike on Earth. Prepare the fleet for hyperspace jump, he barked. We'll show these creatures what true power looks like. Admiral, his tactical officer hesitated. The fleet's condition. I don't care about excuses, Threcker snarled. Initiate the jump. Earth will burn. The officer nodded reluctantly and relayed the command. The damaged fleet began aligning for the hyperspace corridor, their movements sluggish but functional. Threcker's claws tapped impatiently as he watched the ships lumber into position. Admiral, the communications officer interjected. We've received another transmission from the humans. It's a live feed, Threcker growled. Put it through. The hologram materialized in the center of the bridge, and there she was again, Nora Hayes, sitting at a desk, sipping what appeared to be tea. She smiled faintly, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the chaos surrounding Threcker's fleet. Admiral Threcker, she began, her voice almost cheerful. I hear you're planning a visit. I hope you've made reservations. Earth's pretty busy this time of year. You mock us even now. Threcker spat. This ends today, human. Your arrogance will cost you dearly. Nora tilted her head, her expression curious. Arrogance? No, Admiral, this isn't arrogance. This is practicality. You're bringing a crippled fleet to attack a planet that's been watching your every move. Do you really think this is going to end well for you? We will crush your defenses. Threcker roared. Earth will fall, and humanity will bow before the Council. Nora's smile widened slightly. Sure. But let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why we're so calm about all of this? Why we haven't panicked even once? Threcker hesitated, the question catching him off guard. Your bluffing doesn't scare me. Oh, it's not a bluff, Nora said, leaning forward. You see, humans have a saying, the best offense is a good defense. But what we don't say out loud is that the best defense is making sure the offense never gets the chance. Threcker's eyes narrowed. What are you implying? Nora gestured towards something off-screen, and the hologram shifted to show a live feed of the Pride of Thalassia from an external angle. Surrounding the flagship, tiny blinking objects began to appear, drifting closer to the fleet. The bridge crew gasped in unison. Those, Nora explained, her tone casual, are our orbital interdiction drones. Cute, aren't they? They've been shadowing your fleet since you arrived at Proxima. And now? Well, now they're ready to say hello. Threcker's claws dug into the armrest of his chair. You dare use such cowardly tactics? Cowardly? Nora echoed, raising an eyebrow. I'd call it efficient. Each of those drones carries a payload specifically designed to disable your ships without unnecessary destruction. We're not monsters, Admiral. We're just practical. The bridge erupted into chaos as warning sirens blared. The tactical officer's voice was frantic. Admiral! The drones are locking onto our engines and weapons systems. We can't shake them. Activate countermeasures! Threcker shouted. Destroy them! We can't! The officer cried. Our targeting systems are still offline from the EMP surge. Nora's voice cut through the cacophony like a blade. Here's the deal, Admiral. You can call off your attack, admit you've lost, and go home with what's left of your fleet. Or you can keep pushing and watch as we systematically dismantle everything you've brought to this fight. Your choice. Threcker's tail lashed behind him as he stared at the hologram. His pride screamed at him to press on, to refuse surrender no matter the cost. But deep down, he knew the truth. The humans had outmaneuvered him at every turn. To continue would mean not just defeat, but humiliation. You think this makes you superior? He growled. This mockery of warfare? No, Nora said simply. It makes us survivors. You declared war on us, Admiral. We just made sure you'd regret it. The silence on the bridge was deafening. Threcker glanced around at his crew, their faces etched with fear and desperation. Finally, he let out a low, guttural sigh. Stand down, he ordered, his voice heavy with defeat. Recall all ships. We're retreating. The tactical officer hesitated, then nodded. Yes, Admiral. The hologram shifted back to Nora, her expression softening slightly. Smart choice, Admiral. For what it's worth, I respect your decision. It's not easy to admit when you're beaten. Save your platitudes, Threcker snapped. This isn't over, human. Maybe not, Nora said, her smile returning. But for now, it's Tuesday. And we've got more important things to do. The transmission ended, leaving Threcker to brood in silence as his fleet began its slow, shameful retreat. On Earth, Nora leaned back in her chair, a satisfied smile playing on her lips. Think he'll try again? Marcus asked, standing beside her. Oh, probably, Nora replied. But next time, he'll think twice before underestimating us. Lynn entered the room, holding a tablet. Update from Proxima. All drones are returning to base. Minimal collateral damage. Looks like we've earned ourselves a bit of breathing room. Good, Nora said, picking up her coffee. Because I really do have plans tomorrow, and I'd hate to miss them over something as trivial as an intergalactic war.